The really important interactions in teaching is not the information that flows from the teacher out to the student, but what comes from the student back to the teacher and what the teacher does with that information.
And as to this question of what did we learn that perhaps could be generalized for other folks, I think there's a few things. One is that this notion of really building an authentic, equitable partnership. Didn't matter what role you came in when you came into the project, you brought something that was important to our work, and then you needed to be prepared to take on and have ideas and thoughts challenged so that you too could learn. And I think, again, we spent a lot of time attending to norms and principles so that we established how do we work together? What does it mean to be a collaborative partnership that values that kind of expertise that's grounded in research? So you have to pay attention to how you're working together, not just what you're working on. I think that we from the very start were grounded in a particular theory of learning, which we made explicit to all our partners, the teachers and faculty, and we've stayed grounded in that theory of learning for years. So there were 3 key findings from the literature on how people learn that was the focus of our work, and we gave teachers multiple experiences and in understanding what those 3 key findings were and what they looked like, multiple experiences to practice that in their own work, get feedback. So that staying true to a particular model and giving people ample time to absorb that, practice it, get feedback, and improve upon it, rather than being kind of a fad some new thing every month. We tried to really give people ample time to internalize what they learned and stay rooted in that research. So there's a book that was published, 10 or more years ago now, called How People Learn, that is a synthesis of literature from education, psychology, cognitive theory, tries to get this picture of what do we know about how people learn. And there's a lot more in the book than these 3 key findings, but 3 findings that we really focused on were, one, this notion that students come to the classroom with their own ideas, with prior ideas and experiences they've encountered either in other classroom settings or just in life in general, and understanding what those ideas are, eliciting them, and then building on them or deconstructing them is really important for them to really learn a new idea. So they aren't this empty vessel that you just add new information on. You need to know how are they thinking about an idea, and then how do you work with that to build to a more scientifically accurate and complete understanding. The second finding is that it's important for students to develop a factual knowledge base or facts associated with discipline, but that those facts also need to be organized within a larger conceptual framework that unites them to make a more unifying idea, as well as allows them to be retrieved and applied in new ways. And the third finding is this notion of metacognition, that students need to be aware of what about the experiences have supported their learning, what have they learned and how did they learn it, so that, again, should they encounter a situation where they don't know something, they can draw upon their understanding of their own learning to learn something new in the future.
So a lot of times you'll hear science educators at all levels say science is inquiry, and you have to teach science through inquiry. And what the synthesis from the How People Learn tells us is that certainly scientific inquiry is how science is done, but the effective instruction of science, effective teaching and learning of science can be done in many different ways. Sometimes a lecture is a perfectly good way to help students learn. Sometimes doing an experiment is important. Sometimes reading a book is a great thing, going to the library, but whatever it is, however you instruct, however you build the learning experience, it should have those elements of good instruction that are from How People Learn, the taking account of student ideas, the building factual framework and a conceptual framework, and helping students think about their own learning. Those elements need to be in your instruction, no matter what the actual form of the instruction is, which can be built to fit the context that you're working in.